What's up you guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at the legendary iPhone 12 mini, an iPhone that came out back in 2020 and an iPhone that was truly different to anything else Apple had released in a long time. Let's break it down and get into it. The most important part about the 12 mini was it was the first mini iPhone that Apple ever made, and unfortunately this mini series carried on only till the 13 mini to end up getting discontinued after that. Of course, the most interesting part about this iPhone was its size. I absolutely love the form factor, and the fact that you have such a powerful chip inside that's going to last you the next couple of years is absolutely bananas. I love this series of iPhones and I'm really disappointed that Apple has chosen to discontinue it. Although a lot of people worldwide didn't end up buying these phones, and that was probably because of the price range that they were launched at. If Apple had dropped the prices, I think the series would have done really well. And honestly, I do not like the plus size iPhones that Apple has gone for with the iPhone 14 Plus and the expected iPhone 15 Plus. The minis were just perfect the way they were, and a slight price drop would have done them really well. Now, when it comes down to the mini iPhones, I definitely believe that the 13 mini is a better buy. So if you're somebody who's looking for a mini iPhone in 2023, I would definitely suggest you go for that instead of the one that I'm looking at right now, which is the 12 mini. That's because they basically took the 12 mini and improved all the faults that it had with the 13 mini, making it even better and making it a much better, well-rounded, tiny little iPhone. Now, looking at the panel, obviously this is a Super Retina XDR display, which basically means it's an OLED display at 5.4 inches. The 5.4 inches part is the part that gets me excited because this is a pretty nice size for a phone, according to me. I hate how smartphones are getting bigger and bigger, and I do think we're going to come to a point where it's going to be really hard to differentiate between a smartphone and a tablet. Now, this display back in the day did hold its own. It was a really good display for when it came out, and I think right now in 2023 it does have its own place. It does hold its own. I think it's a pretty solid display on the overall. Although the lack of 120Hz is kind of frustrating, and to be honest, the lack of 120Hz on the iPhone 14 itself is kind of frustrating as well. The fact that we don't have it on the iPhone 14 pretty much puts us in a place where we don't expect Apple to put it into their mini iPhone. Although Apple, if you're watching, it's high time. Now, the 12 mini has your standard notch on the top of it, which basically means it houses the Face ID sensor on the inside, which I think is a massive win. I feel really bad for the iPhone SE series that's stuck with only Touch ID. While I'm a big fan of Touch ID, I think Face ID is almost a must because a lot of budget Android phones can give you that in 2023. Now, we have a Lightning port, but the mini series unfortunately is a series that died with the Lightning port. Hopefully we're going to get USB-C this year on the iPhone 15, so stay tuned for that review. Other than that, we also have your standard glass back finish, which is a gloss texture other than a matte texture that you have on the Pro models, which is something I don't really enjoy, but it's pretty much standardized across the board at this point. It's pretty durable, and I think it does a pretty good job giving it quite a premium feel. Now, something that I absolutely love about this iPhone is the fact that it's MagSafe enabled. This is something that is so important in the Apple ecosystem today because majority of the Apple first-party accessories as well as third-party accessory makers are working on the future of MagSafe and making more and more MagSafe accessories, which will keep coming, and they're going to be compatible with this phone for the next few years to go. Now, that's something that phones like the iPhone SE do not have, and I think it's a major disappointment for that device. Honestly, MagSafe is the future, and also this phone is IP certified, which makes it super durable. I think Apple really put in a good amount of thought when they were developing the iPhone mini line. Apple was really trying to push the iPhone mini line because they really believed it would be something magnificent. Honestly, I think we need to take a minute to talk about the amazing cameras on this device. We have three 12 megapixel cameras on the iPhone 12 mini, which back in the day when this phone released were pretty much state of the art. They were the best cameras you can find on any mobile on the planet, and I think the only cameras that were better than this were probably the Pro level pixel cameras that were out in the market, as well as the iPhone 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max that were out in the market at that point as well. Honestly, these cameras have stood the test of time. You have an ultra-wide lens as well as a standard 1x lens at the back. Of course, you don't have a telephoto lens, but the quality that you get out of these cameras is absolutely mind-blowing. You have the ability to shoot in 4K 60 on all three cameras. And to be honest, the selfie camera is really not bad. Apps such as Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok are all optimized and take into account the full power of these cameras. And I think today in 2023, while we have a tough competition out there when it comes to smartphone cameras, these cameras for the everyday average consumer will be one of the best and still be one of the most consistent camera systems that you can get on a smartphone, especially taking into account the price of this phone today and taking into account the fact that this phone is so tiny. Now, something that we do care about quite a bit in 2023 specifically is the longevity of the device that you're actually buying. And if you want to buy the iPhone 12 mini, I know a lot of you are going to be concerned about how long Apple's going to support this phone. Well, let's put it into context. Your iPhone 10 got your last software update. It came to iOS 16. Pretty much marks the 5th year of software support for this device. Now that is pretty amazing. As a matter of fact, the iPhone mini came out in 2020. It is already running iOS 16.3.1 at this point while I'm recording the video, and it runs it super smooth. Honestly, I think you're going to be fine till iOS 19, and that's something that's super important. Because with the way smartphone innovation is going, if you're somebody who's not interested in the regular camera upgrades or the chip upgrades year after year, you just want your phone to last and you're not going to want to upgrade as often. Honestly, the upgrade cycle for most people has come down to 2 to 3 years now in the market, and I think this phone's going to last you another 3 years easy. And that's the best part about the iPhone 12 mini in my opinion, the chip that you have inside, which gives it amazing performance, which is what we're going to dive into next. I think performance is one of the key areas where you're going to be absolutely in love with this iPhone. It comes with the A14 Bionic chip, and this is an A series chip made by Apple, you guys. Apple is killing it in the market when it comes down to its chipset. They have super efficient and super powerful chips that can do more than any other chips on the market can, no matter what device you're actually looking at right now in 2023. The A14 is super powerful. It's really snappy. If you're a gamer, you're going to love it because it can play the heaviest games on the market. If you're somebody who's interested in content creation, you have great cameras and great performance with the A14 chip. You can also edit 4K video on this tiny device, and I've done it myself personally, so I can vouch for that. If you're using this phone just as a content consumption device, it's going to be absolutely banging for you because it's going to do everything you want it to do. Nothing is going to slow it down. The A14 is super powerful, and that's exactly what's powering this phone and giving it the longevity that it has with its software upgrades. This phone and this chip is absolutely amazing. Now, the one major downside that we have to this phone is basically the battery life, and I think Apple really messed up over here, and that's exactly why I think buying this phone in 2023 is going to affect a couple of people and you might not be completely satisfied. The battery life is pretty much atrocious, and I think the thought process at Apple when they were building this phone was simply that we have a great processor, it's super efficient, we can put in a small battery into this phone and it should give us good battery life. And while that is true at some level, the A14 is a crazy efficient processor. We've seen that with the regular iPhone 12 model. To be completely honest, physics is physics, and a smaller battery means you're going to get lesser battery life, and the battery capacity of this phone is only 2227 milliamp hours, which is not a lot. My GoPro Hero 10 has a 1700 milliamp hour battery inside, and that's a tiny device that just shoots video. This phone shoots video, shoots high resolution video, shoots photos, is pretty much a walking talking computer, and it only has 2200 milliamps of battery on it. So yeah, that is a major downside, and I truly believe that the one area that Apple could have improved the mini series is by giving it a slightly bigger or a slightly fatter battery, maybe making the mini series slightly fatter or thicker in size to give it better performance, so they could stuff in a better battery on the inside while maintaining lower size, smaller form factor. I think these things would have really benefited this phone. I do believe there are a bunch of accessories like the MagSafe battery pack as well as Anker's battery packs that attach to the back using MagSafe, so that you can pretty much double your battery life on this device. I still believe that carrying that around is cumbersome, and not a lot of people are going to be happy with the fact that you're going to have to charge up this phone maybe more than once in a day depending on how you use it. And that pretty much wraps up my take on the iPhone mini in 2022, specifically the 12 mini. I think it's a pocket rocket. This phone is really nice to use even today. I love the form factor. It's super well built. It feels really good in the hand, and the fact that you can use it with one hand pretty much beats every phone on the market in my opinion. Now, it isn't all perfect. A 120Hz refresh rate would have been much better on the screen. We do have the A14 chip, but better battery life would have definitely helped this device. The A14 chip is going to give you a ton of power to get through your day-to-day tasks. The phone looks really good and feels really good. The speakers are nice and the performance is pretty decent even today. If you're worried about how long it's going to last you, I could give you guarantees that this phone will last you till iOS 19 at least, because that's how Apple supports their phones. Now, if you are somebody who's looking at buying the iPhone 12 mini, I will still tell you to try and look for the 13 mini, which is basically the next generation of this device, where it pretty much fixes the issues which came up with battery life on this device, which I think is absolutely atrocious. If you can get your hands on a 13 mini, you will be better off. But if you can't find a 13 mini and you do see a 12 mini available on sale at a low price anywhere else, and if you're confused whether it's still going to give you what you need as a smartphone of your choice in 2023, I would definitely say it's a pretty solid device and you're not going to go wrong. I think overall the iPhone 12 mini is pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with its performance in 2023, and if you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Definitely share it with your friends. If you know somebody who's looking at the iPhone 12 mini, definitely show them this video, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.